Alrighty, let's do this thing. So how's it going, man?
Going good, John.
Yeah.
It's going with you.
Oh, it's going. This is an interesting way to start this whole thing off. So it's been a long time coming. So just, thank you for doing this. But yeah, man, I just wanted to actually, take some time and actually talk with you about the process and everything, or your process, if that's all right with you and everything.
Absolutely.
So, we go way back. We've been working on a bunch of stuff for a while, but, just this is all for you, man. So yeah, tell me what you got. This is all for what you got going on now, what's coming up next. What's going on in the world of you?
Well, as you know, we not just finished, about a year and a half ago, we just did a short called INSECTOID, which we're hoping to release in a couple of months, which you were a great cinematographer.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah. It's good. I mean, that was a really interesting project because me and my brother had been talking about we wanted to do something, and it had been a little bit since I had done my last project. I think before INSECTOID, I think it was 2018. I did King of the Blue Ridge, and my brother did something as well, which I helped with. But we were talking about we wanted to do another project, and if you remember, we had another thing that we had in mind, but then we decided that was more of a feature. So then just one day I was just kind of thinking about, it'd be kind of interesting if we saw, these two characters, and the stories about these two women who are partners who go through this kind of major grief in their lives, and one of them actually comes home to find the other one kind of going through this grief, but thinking that she's experiencing some out of this world pain.
Oh wow!
To kind of put it, kind of not to give anything away, and it kind of becomes this kind of tense, almost mystery of sorts, because we as the audience and we're going with the characters, and we're not sure how to take these two characters as one's feeling this pain and the other one is not fully understanding why this other character is feeling that way.
Yeah.
But while dealing with grief, and then of course the end will come and a lot more will be revealed.
Well, that's exciting.
But yeah, so I was thinking about this idea, and I was thinking about how cool it would be. I talked to James about it, James, my brother, and co-director on the film and writer as well. And we're like, yeah, let's do this project with a great title called INSECTOID.
Yeah.
Of course, okay. I talked to you. We talked to James's college colleague. We went to school together for grad school, Leslie, and she produced the movie. And yeah, we got together, we did this short. It's going to end up being about 20 minutes, 18 to 20 minutes.
Nice.
And it's really cool.
It's good length,
Yeah. Kind of how it came about. We shot it, about a year and a half ago. So it's been a little interesting process through post.
I remember we were doing it during the Will Smith slap.
Yes. We were working on, what was it, the last scene? Something
like that. Yeah, I know, right?
The next scene, I remember Tori, who's one of the executive producers on the film, was like, "Did you guys just hear what happened?" We all had to take a break. We all had to take a break and go watch that quick video.
That's amazing. Yeah, I mean, because it was so fast. You know what I mean? Like the slap in between everything else too that we were doing. But that's crazy. I mean, because I remember you told me a little bit about the whole how INSECTOID began and everything. But no, that's interesting. I never knew that side of the story before, though.
Yeah, and to be completely honest with you, so I kind of came up with the initial idea. James, though, wrote a fantastic script, and I will be honest, he did a lot of the pre-production on this film. So that for me was it was interesting because I usually am very involved in pre-production, but I had just started kind of working a new job at the time, so he took on a lot of the pre-production stuff, and but I've been doing all the post.
Nice. That's a good trade-off.
Yeah. And like I said, post it's been a little bit interesting because the last thing I edited was about 2018, 2019. So it was kind of like riding a bicycle, kind of getting back into it.
Yeah.
But it's weird. It's weird, man. It's weird when you're working as well as trying to be creative.
No, I know. So, yeah, because I was going to ask you, because you were pretty much editing as you go along with work and life and just living that whole experience. So, like, how has that work-life balance been for you?
Man, not great.
No,
I'm not gonna lie. It's something interesting because I remember kind of when I came out here as well. I was like, oh, you got to stay with the things that you love to do, right? That's like the most important. And I remember really early on, hearing people say, oh, I do this as my day job, but these are my hobbies. And I kept thinking to myself, for me, will never become a hobby. And I'm not saying it's become a hobby, but it's something I definitely understand now more where people are coming from. Because when you're working like 40 plus hours, I've told you, I've sometimes gone up to like 60 hours a week and even higher. And then you get like one day to like edit. So you're like set up, you're going, you're in your stride, you're putting stuff together, things are really working out, things are coming together, but then you gotta stop and you don't touch it for another week. And then that day then becomes, okay, what was the really cool thing I had last week that now I gotta do?
Wow. Again, yeah, so. Seriously. No, I totally know that feeling.
So it's been interesting, but it hasn't been bad. It's just been a little longer than what usually
than what you would want it to be. Yeah, for sure. So. No, that's interesting. I mean, so let's go back a little bit because I mean, like, because now you're working at a big timey studio, you're doing a bunch of like interesting things, and you're also shooting your own things and editing them on the side, which everybody's doing that. But like the fact that you're doing it, it seems like pretty easily. I mean, you make it look easy, but I mean, minus all the time sucked away from you and everything, like in your day-to-day life. So, but let's go back a little bit, because like I know you from Cape Fear when we were working on school and trying to get that figured out. But yeah, like, let's go back. Like, what is, what's your whole, like, timeline? Like, what's your personal story? Because, all I know is that, we have a commonality is that we're Cypriot. So that's pretty much it, other than filmmakers. So, but yeah, tell me about it, man.
So yeah, I grew up in Cyprus. It's this little Greek island. I mean, for me, it's still home. I have the American accent, but I've always said that's my mom's accent.
Yeah, how did that happen exactly?
It was just my mom's American. So she was very involved in my life, a very big person in my life. I just got her accent, and we went when I was in Cyprus. So Greek school is the public school, but there's the private schools. They're English. So my mom was always really important that we always went to private school because she wanted us to speak English, and she still have her kind of American influences on us. So we did that, so I got her accents.
Wow.
But yeah, I grew up over there. Spent about 20 years over there, something like that.
Yeah.
So I mean, that for me is home. That's for me. I consider that home. Came out to the States. I mean, I took a year off too in between. Lived in the UK, traveled. Then came off to the States to North Carolina, and where we met.
Wow.
In Cape Fear was the directing class. I'm honest, directing for
theater directing. Yeah, I know.
It's strange because I had a film class, but you weren't in it.
I know, it was one of those things where I think that year too, I was also doing photography, and I thought it was digital photography, but it was actually analog, and so we were doing theater directing and regular photography, which was different because I mean the building was this like very derelict building.
I remember, and it was far away from like the main campus, so you had to like walk. I always walked down.
Yeah, no, you literally had to walk down there. I mean, it was like about almost a half mile, but still for for a school that's like, it's not like you'd think about, I mean, really. But it
was cool. I liked it, to be honest. I liked.
I had a great time.
I had a great time.
Yeah.
It was right in the middle of the town as well, so that's always really cool.
Yeah, I mean, it was nice to do that because I mean, if there was any time to fail, that would probably be the best place to be.
Man, I'll tell you, I had some of my best teachers there, though.
Yeah.
I had great teachers other places I went.
Yeah.
But there, I had some of the best teachers that really taught me.
Like who?
Well, like Jack was a really good one. I really we had our film teacher as well. This is David Kreutzer.
Kreutzer was the best. That's true. Yeah.
I had one of the best teachers I ever had was a history teacher. I can't actually remember his name right now.
Oh no.
But the way he taught, because he would come in.
Wait a minute, was he a surfer guy?
He was like a surfer guy. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we took the same guy then. Yeah.
He was for me.
Fuck, what was his name?
What was his name? I want to say like something. But he was just out of this world, because he would come in. Yeah. He was like, don't take notes. Just listen to me. Listen to the story. And each class would be like a story. So we'd be like just, we wouldn't like even read the books, nothing. We'd be just sitting there listening to him telling. It was almost like watching a movie. So every class we'd be listening to him telling us this story, and like we all got the history really well, And so for me that was like one of the best. So we had some great teachers.
That's so crazy.
But yeah, you and me met during that directing class, and then then I transferred. I moved up to Philly. We had a great time up there too. That's a wonderful city. Got really involved in like the arts scene as well. Met some great people, and then I moved out here being LA, for grad school. And I knew you were out here as well. I'd seen you on social media.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I can't remember if it might have been you who reached out. I can't remember it, to be honest. I think you reached out first.
Well, I was just wondering if you were coming down, I think, if I remember, because I was here in 2014.
Oh, you're here before me.
Yeah, because you came,
2016.
Okay, yeah. So I was here at least a year and a half before, and then you moved to Long Beach.
I did.
Yeah.
Great place, a horrible commute.
That's just one of those things, you learn as you go along, right? Yeah. So, because a lot of that is just a blur, because I feel like it happens so quickly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then now it's done. It's gone.
You worked on, was the first Project Hawk, I think, right? Was that the first one we worked on together?
We were working on Hawk together. We did. That was the first one, because that was out for your 1 year classes at Pepperdine.
Here's the fun. It wasn't actually like.
Or was it just a passion thing?
It was a passion thing originally. But what's kind of funny, what ended up happening is that the entire class kind of worked on it. It kind of became.
See, that's just amazing. Class. Yeah. What better way to do it, right? Just throw yourself into it.
You actually, for my grad school, that's the only film my entire cohort actually worked on together.
Is it really? Wow.
So, at least as far as I know. But that's the one we all worked on together.
That's fascinating.
And
who was that other guy in the movie with James? He was
Martin, yeah.
Is he from Pepperdine too, or no?
He was going to Chapman.
Oh,
he was going to James. So James also moved out here with me.
Right. But you guys were going to separate schools,
I was going up to Malibu to Pepperdine, and James was going to Chapman.
Wow.
Orange for Chapman. So we had this like mix of Chapman, mix Pepperdine, mix Cape Fear.
That's insane.
Group of people.
That's insane.
Working on Hawk.
Yeah.
Which was really cool. It's funny, Hawk was one of the first projects that I felt like I completed I was really kind of proud of too, and
like you were like comfortable with it.
Yeah. Worked on it. It's strange because I kind of fell in love with the project. So it's kind of interesting how it came about. James wrote the script. It was like a 3-2-1 that he wrote for his school, right? For his like a school project. And he gave me like a bunch of scripts to like read. Mm-hmm. And I read Hawk and I was like, and it was so simple. And I was like, but it's so simple, it's so brilliant at the same time. And I was like, I want to do this. Like, I'm dying to do this. Mm-hmm. And I remember James was kind of like hesitant at the time. He was like, oh, I don't know if we should. Finally, I was like, I'm going to do this justice. Like, let me do this. So he was like, okay, let's do it. And I kind of like fell in love with the project.
Yeah.
And I was working on it, every day. I would go into school. My teachers all knew about it. They would like see stuff. I would show them like the script, or like I'd show them cuts afterwards. So they were like involved with it. Wow. I got the entire cohort to be involved with it.
Wow.
And it's funny, we did that. It did well at festivals. I can't remember. I think it did like it's in the double digits of the festivals.
That's crazy.
So it did pretty well.
Yeah. Because it played everywhere, right? Like just super small ones all over the world, right?
Yeah, a lot of small. It was a short film. It was really short, but it's played. Yeah, I want to say something like 13. I gotta look at the number.
Damn.
Like maybe even more, like 19, maybe.
Wow.
So it was a really cool, it was a really fun project.
Not bad for something out of your backyard.
Yeah, literally just
practically,
kind of
right?
Put it all together.
So,
but you know, it was a really fun project. And it's funny, I don't know if I ever told you this, but so at the time I was also looking for like, I would say a part-time job, although this is a very interesting part-time job. I got an interview to go work for American Airlines.
What?
Did I ever tell you about this?
No, you never told me
I got
about
an
this.
interview to go work with American Airlines, for American Airlines.
Yeah.
And I ended up at go to like by the airport. You know, I'm a big aviation.
Oh, of course, yeah, I'm the same. Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, it's not. It was American Airlines, but this was no part-time job. This was like. This would have been like a career, right?
Oh my God.
So I go there, there's a lot of people.
Like the full-time experience, right?
Yeah, it was going to be like work like a gate agent, but there was like a lot of people.
Wow.
And it was funny. I was definitely one of the younger people there as well. I remember I actually didn't go through the whole interview because I remember sitting there and they're telling us all about like how long this was going to take, how this was going to, how long the commitment was going to be, what exactly it was. I remember thinking to myself, and so about halfway through, before I kind of did a one-on-one interview, I actually decided to leave. And I left, and I remember I called my mom at the time. She was in Cyprus. And I said to her, this is, and it wasn't even about grad school, but it was about, I said, look, when I did this, I want to be able to do Hawk.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah.
That's so funny.
So I was like, I got to choose between like,
that's incredible.
American Airlines or make Hawk, and I was like, I choose Hawk. So no, love American Airlines is fine, but
wow,
I choose Hawk. So
I mean,
interesting. But.
Yeah, that's an interesting. I mean, because it's not like you have to make an important life decision. It's not like make or break, but like. It's really funny because like of all things, you know what I mean? No, you never told me that. You've never told me that. You've told me some pretty crazy shit though, but you've so all right, so we talked Pepperdine, but when you were back at Cape Fear, I mean that was your first time. Like, was it your first time studying school outside of the country, like outside of Cyprus?
Yeah.
Because you would just do traveling and just do basic, like.
Yeah, I mean, we
going to see, Europe and things like that, right?
Well, so I grew up in Cyprus. So
yeah.
Whenever we traveled, we actually traveled to the U.S.
You always traveled to the same spots, or no?
No, like my mom. So my mom would want to come home in the summers, right? So
oh, okay.
We didn't usually always do Christmas, but like summer. We would go back. We'd come to the U.S.
Got it.
And to be completely honest with you, Cyprus is really, really hot in the summer.
Oh, I bet.
So extremely hot. No central air. So it wasn't a bad thing.
But you were basically, coming over there just for a few months and going back to school over in Cyprus.
Yeah. So we'd come here for the summer. My mom originally would come to either San Diego, is where my mom was from. Then her parents moved to Florida, so we went to Florida for a little bit. And then eventually North Carolina. North Carolina.
So did you know about Cape Fear before you applied?
I did. Because James, and then I became a fan, but James was a big fan of Dawson's Creek. So and then I got into it towards the end. But we decided when we were younger, when one summer, we actually took a trip to Wilmington. And it was a lot of fun. Like I really enjoyed Wilmington. So then when it was time to go to college, I was trying to decide where I wanted to go. And my mom, to be honest, my mom was like, go to North Carolina because I had a family there.
Yeah.
I was kind of against the idea originally.
But she was never like, go there specifically for school or anything?
But she was just like, go to North Carolina because it's your kind of first time away from home. My parents are there. The area. It'll be something comfortable. I was like, I want to go to New York. I want to do these places that I hadn't really experienced before.
Right.
Mom was like, go to North Carolina. It'll be, at least for the first year, it'll be kind of a good experience. So again, I was a little bit against it at the time, but then I was like, okay, I get it.
Huh. Yeah.
And then I was looking. I was like, okay, where do I want to go? And I was looking at the film programs, and there was one. I found one that was. There was one that was kind of in the middle of nowhere. And I was like, oh, no, I don't really want to go there. And then, of course, Wilmington had always been something we'd always had a good time when we went to Wilmington.
Yeah, yeah.
So then I was at Wilmington and I looked at Cape Fear and I saw that they had film stuff and they also had a really good theater program. And I was like, actually, that makes... And Wilmington had always been something that we were really into. Like, again, Dawson's Creek, the Film Relations, Screen Gems was there. And, you know, there was a reason to go there. So... And you know, I don't regret it. My mom was right in the end.
Yeah.
Because, trust me, boy, coming from Cyprus, and I'd spent time in the UK, but going to Wilmington, it was good having family.
Oh, yeah, I bet. I mean, yeah, because you're close, but not too, you know what I mean? It's because they're in, what, Hickory, right?
They were in Hickory at the time.
Yeah.
They both passed now, but...
Oh, shit, I'm sorry.
They were in Hickory at the time, and I would go... It was good in the end because my grandma actually passed when I was in North Carolina, so like around Christmas time she passed. So it was good. I was there because I was able to actually be there for my grandfather. I got to spend some good time with them.
Okay. So
yeah. It was in the end. It really worked out in my opinion.
Okay.
So yeah.
That's crazy.
I also met you.
Yeah. We eventually met. So yeah, that's pretty nuts.
And I also met my buddy Hunter. Well, who I knew Hunter. Have I told you the story?
Hunter was in the theater show. He was the little scene that you did. Yeah.
Hunter went to my high school in Cyprus.
Really?
Yeah, he went to high school in Cyprus.
That's trippy.
I knew him. So then, my second semester at Cape Fear, I walk in to go to a theater class. I see this guy there. We're like both look at each other. We're not saying anything. Then we sit down. And then I hear the teacher say his name, and I turn to him and say, "Have you ever lived in Cyprus?" And he was like, "Holy shit, Peter Ellinas." I was like, "Hunter, what are you doing?"
Wow.
And we remained friends. I just saw him in Charleston.
That's spooky. Yeah. That is spooky.
It's a weird small world, man.
Damn, dude. Yeah. I mean, because you never think about oh yeah, I'm gonna run into this person at some point or down the line or anything like that until you actually do.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, man, trippy.
Went to high school in Cyprus, ended up in Cape Fear, North Carolina.
Wow. That's nuts, man.
In the same class.
That's so crazy. I mean, yeah, who would have known? So then, then you leave North Carolina, but what was the period like after you went to Cape Fear, then you were done with Cape Fear after 2 years?
A year.
You stayed a year. So then you went to Temple?
I went to Temple in Philly.
Yeah, okay.
And I had
what'd you study there?
I had a crisis identity there. Identity crisis going on there.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't know if I wanted to remain in film. And so I went up to Temple and I kind of did a lot of things. I ended up doing film and communication as well. So I did stay in film and I did minor in theater. But I was thinking, do I want to do something more business related? Do I want to do... And my dad's kind of a businessman. So he was kind of in my ear a little bit about... I love my dad. But he was kind of in my ear a little bit about it as well. So I didn't get a minor in business, but I did almost all the classes apart from 2 of them.
Oh, wow.
But so, yeah, it was... I stopped making stuff when I went to Philly. And then towards the end of my that was for undergrad. Towards the end of my undergrad, I started making a little couple shorts and really short stuff. And one of them actually was picked as one of the best overall in the classes.
Oh, wow.
The class that I took, excuse me. And after that, then I started that passion started
coming back. Yeah.
And I got involved with the theater scene in Philly. I interned at a theater company. And this was, again, during this time now the passion started coming back. I got involved with a theater company. I had friends who were in theater. We were all talking about either doing a show or doing a film. Then right before I left, I made a full-on short, I will say. Instead of these little projects, we made a short film that was about 15 minutes. It was called In Quiet Country.
Oh yeah, I've seen it on your YouTube. Okay.
Yeah, and it was fun. There was a lot of, it was a learning process to make that movie. I had some great people working with me, so I can't speak highly about
all from your classes and stuff.
They were from different classes, and I had a friend called Drew who had friends as well in the art scene. We got involved, and I mean it reignited my passion for filmmaking because it was actually I want to do this. This is a lot of fun. There's a lot of fun creating. There's a lot of fun doing stuff. we shot a scene, this opening sequence. We shot it out in like Central PA, Pennsylvania, and it was kind of such a cool experience.
Yeah, those are vibes, man. Wow.
Yeah. So it was a really fun. So after that, when I finished that, I was like, I kind of want to make more stuff.
Sorry. No, I'm listening. Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to make more stuff, and I've always been thinking about grad school. I always viewed grad school as an opportunity to like use equipment, make more stuff, have it kind of a chance to make more things. So
were you studying film at Temple, or were you studying?
I did like film and communication.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So it was like lumped into that. Yeah, I got you.
And theater as well. I minored in theater as well. So yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy because like, yeah, you never really think like, oh, okay, like that's quite a move. Yeah. So, but I feel you though too, because I was in the same boat with like double minoring at one point, and taking sociology, and just didn't work out. So, yeah. But no, I totally get that. So then, how many shorts did you shoot at Temple? Were they just like micro shorts, like 5 minutes?
Shorts, 5 minutes, 8 minutes, something like that.
And then you come back over here, or you moved over here. So why LA after Temple?
Grad school. I applied for different schools. I got a scholarship to go to Pepperdine.
And that was it.
I thought that was the best. I mean, in terms of getting a scholarship, Pepperdine's a really well known.
And you went from Temple straight to Pepperdine?
No, I took about a year off.
Oh, okay.
Something like a year off. I did a little traveling.
Sounds like you needed it.
Yeah. I did a little traveling. Went back to Cyprus also for a little bit. Finished off. My family was running a youth theater company at the time.
Oh wow.
And I went back for the last 2 shows, and then it closed. Kind of closed on a high, where actually we're getting a lot of business.
Really?
Shows were doing really well. But my mom wanted to retire, and I wanted to go to grad school. So
wow.
We that ended, and then I came out to chose Pepperdine. It was also good because James was going to go to Chapman, so it kind of worked out. We both moved out together.
Yeah.
And then came out here and did my master's degree in my MFA in film.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I love how it just worked itself out, and kind of like
still here.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, are you sick of it yet?
My feelings on LA. Look, it's an interesting place. A lot of traffic. That's what I'm gonna say.
I mean, yeah, some things never change, right? But at least it moves. So there's that.
True. Yeah.
But yeah, so that's pretty crazy. So then you move here. You get settled into. You do like what, 1 year at Pepperdine?
No, I did 2.5.
No, I mean like 1 year at Pepperdine before you start shooting things. That's what I meant. Before Hawk.
Hawk. When did we do Hawk? Was that?
Oh man, I wanted 20. God, it had to been 2016 or 2017.
Then it would have been. I think we did it in the first year, if I'm not mistaken.
So you just jumped right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I can't remember. We did it in the first year or second year. I did another short that I don't think you were available to work on. It was a short for a class, it wasn't. I did another short in between there, and then we did Hawk. So,
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that's fucking hilarious. I mean, because it's just like it's nuts, like the small world with your buddy Hunter and everything, and like because I mean that's like half a world away practically, and then literally doing the whole studies and everything, and then landing, and then actually shooting stuff again. So
like I said, Hawk was really kind of the first one that really got us super excited.
19 festivals is pretty good.
Something like that.
That's pretty good.
Something like that.
It's pretty good for taking a small hiatus.
And, I just remember, because once I got James to get on board with it, I remember I got my buddy Perry, who was in the cohort, who was actually the producer of the movie.
Yeah.
Just me and him were sitting one day after class. We used to go to this like little Mexican restaurant that was right there. We're sitting, I think, having like quesadillas or something. And I was like, "Hey man, we got to do this short." Mm-hmm. And he was like, "All right, let's do it." And I was like, "Let's do it right." So that was a lot of fun.
Does every production meeting start off like that? Hey, we got to do this short,
It's funny. Like I think with I think that's in general, right?
I mean, probably, yeah. I mean, yeah, for sure. That's how you know that they're interested.
Especially us, who are like, we're not making a ton of money off of this.
No, we're not making. Right? I don't think anyone's really, I mean,
for us, it's not even about the money.
Especially off of short content, unless it's like monetized on YouTube somehow, which
which for me, it's never been we haven't made any money off of it.
Right.
But it's just been like, okay, well, I want to do this. It's been about the project. Like, how do we we see this thing. How do we get this thing to life?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's not even about like the festivals, like what it's done. Mm-hmm. It's about how do we get this thing to life? How can I see this? Live and breathe. Mm. Right?
So tell me about the next one after that was King of the Blue Ridge, right?
King of the Blue Ridge. That was a thesis.
Yeah.
A thesis project. I don't think we did anything between Hawk and King of the Blue Ridge.
Right. Well, how did that go? The whole
King of the Blue Ridge.
King of the Blue Ridge. Yeah.
It was interesting. We had some because it was a thesis project, so it wasn't. It wasn't for me. I couldn't just like make all the final decisions. And,
right.
Or me and Perry were working together. We're doing it together.
Mm-hmm.
It was for both of our theses. It had to go through the school because the school also provided funding for it. So they have to like approve some things.
How much were they giving you?
I don't fully remember, to be honest. They ended up at first they weren't going to give us a lot, but they ended up actually working really well with us. And,
mm-hmm.
I can't remember all the details of it because it's been a minute, but they ended up really coming through.
That's nuts.
And providing some really good stuff. The script itself went through some changes, but in the end, I think we got something that was really good. That was really fun. And, that was a little more of a personal project because it was kind of it wasn't based on any of us, but there was elements that we used from kind of our lives and kind of put it in.
Mm-hmm.
And I think actually it was one of the best like shoots we've done personally. We had some really good food. I always say, everyone knows, right? Craft is, filmmaking 101.
Yeah, exactly.
But we had all this right. And I think that we, everyone, we had a really good casting crew that really got along with everybody. And I think that, when you have a good casting crew that everyone gets along, mm-hmm. We put a lot of things in place to make sure the days were running really smooth. So when everything, when there's a platform that we can build on where everything's running really smooth and everything is, and there's going to be problems, 100%.
Oh, of course.
Always,
yeah.
100%. Mm-hmm. But the fact that we did that work going into it so that everything was set up just for us, just to be there for these 2 days, just mm-hmm. to create, I think is really important. I think you can't underestimate kind of that pre-production work where we were just setting up, just creating a platform so that we can go every day and just those 2 days and create, right? I think that's really you can't bypass that. So I really enjoyed King of the Blue Ridge. I think it was like I said, I think we just went those 2 days, and you also did some great work on it as well.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah, and we just went those 2 days, and we're on set, and all of us were trying to do the same thing, trying to like get the best project.
Yeah, exactly.
We were just trying to and it was a good creative space, I think, that you don't always get.
Well, because you talked about it for so long. I mean, it went through, tons of different changes. I mean, at one point it was two brothers.
Yeah.
And then you wanted to have this diner scene, which just seemed like a huge pain in the ass, but we were trying to do it anyway.
We were trying to do it. That was some things that it went to the school as well. And there was because for the thesis, there's a board. There's like a board. It was 3 teachers.
Oh, wow.
Board. And they greenlight the project, and then at the end, after we finish it, and there's a lot of paperwork to go with it, they go and you present it to these 3 teachers. They'll tell you whether you've passed or not.
Wow.
Right? So me and Perry had to do all that. So we did. It wasn't just creating the project. We created the project and did all the paperwork.
Yeah. They treated it like it was a real no bullshit kind of set. Yeah.
Especially for Pepperdine, right? They are now putting their name on this project. It was an MFA project, right? So they need to ensure that it met their standards too. So yeah, me and Perry did that. I remember it was 8 a.m. in the morning. we went to the school, and the three board members, 3 teachers came.
Oh my God.
We pitched why we did these things. they gave us feedback on it. Our feedback was pretty good, and then it passed with changes, right? So we had to go, and they were really minor changes, like fix like a scene, a color thing with one scene, fix this one thing. It was minor.
But they're acting like studio heads, studio execs.
Kind of, yeah. I think that's kind of the way like MFAs.
Yeah.
Because you have to like pitch this stuff. And then so I made those small changes, resubmitted it.
Crazy.
They didn't have to go through the whole process again because they had basically said it's passed. It just needs to fix A, B, and C. We fixed A, B, and C.
And that was it. Yeah. Wow.
We got my diploma came in the mail.
Just like that, huh?
Yeah. I didn't go to I didn't walk. Once you walk once for graduation.
That was
It's my thought on it.
Yeah. What was it like working with you two actresses on that project?
It was great.
Maya and what was the other? I'm butchering her name. Their name.
Yeah. It was Nadia.
Nadia.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Not Maya. What's wrong? I mean, it was what, like 4 or 5 years ago at this point. 6 years ago at this point.
Yeah. They.
Do you still talk to them?
I don't talk to them. No, unfortunately, we have. They were. Once we just decided on the characters. Nadia had actually worked with a little bit before. She was. They were both friends of Perry's. And Perry actually, but I had worked with Nadia. Perry did a really short little project. I think I went and shot for him. I can't remember what I did. Or I did something. I did something.
Right.
And she was there, and I liked her. I thought she was really good. So when the project came about, I was like, oh, let's see if Nadia's available. And then he also told me, actually, there's another really good actress that I know, and he showed me some reels. And then we all met. We had coffee together. We all met. We all talked. I was like, yeah, they're great. Let's go with them.
Yeah.
So and they were awesome. They totally did their homework.
It's like they just wanted to work though. Yeah.
Yeah, and they came in wanting to do the stuff. So I mean, it's always great. When people come and they're set, they're prepared, they're ready to work, but easy to work with because they'll take notes and what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And even if the notes it's minor stuff sometimes, but we're really easy to work with. So they were great to work with.
Yeah, no, I remember everyone was just in great spirits and in a good mood and wanting to do stuff and I don't know, because that vibe where people are just having a great time, so.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that's all interesting. Hang on 1 second. Sorry.
I want to just test something out. See.
Say something real quick. Sorry. You good?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. But yeah, so King of the Blue Ridge, goes off without a hitch. Did you submit it to any major festivals or no?
Submitted to some festivals. It did okay. It was a little longer than some of the other ones, I thought. So, I think it did about 4 or 5 festivals. Didn't win anything.
And then, so Hawk was 10 minutes?
Yeah, Hawk was
6, 7, under 10?
No, it was something like 10. I gotta find what exactly.
Something around 10, and then King of the Blue Ridge is
closer to 20.
Okay, so then we're going up as time goes on, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
So then after King of the Blue Ridge, what did you do next?
My brother did a short. He did a short called Meetup.
That's right.
A really interesting one. I didn't direct it.
I forgot about that.
You shot that.
And I shot the damn thing, and I forgot about it.
Meetup. That was another project he had written for school, and he did it. It's really cool short. Very very interesting.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, and so
did he put it on YouTube finally or no?
You'd have to ask him. I'm not sure what he's.
Because I haven't heard. I know he's been busy, but yeah, that's.
Yeah, I don't. It did. I think it did a couple festivals, but I don't know how. You have to ask him.
Wow. And you just produced it basically.
I helped produce it and I cut it. So
then you edited it, yeah, and then we shot it in your old apartment.
Shot in my old apartment.
Yeah.
It was in Matt was in that. He was also in King of the Blue Ridge. So.
Oh yeah, he played
a small part. Of King of the
That's
Blue Ridge.
right at the very end. Yeah.
Which was funny. That was actually the opening scene, King of the Blue Ridge.
Oh, was it really?
Scene with him coming and they're signing the paper. That's actually opening scene.
Wow.
But for when we're cutting it, I was like, oh, this works better. This works better at the end.
What compelled you to make that decision? Yeah.
I didn't think for 2 reasons actually. one, I didn't think that it was. I didn't think it was telling us what we wanted, because originally it's the guy, he drops off the big like rubbish container, big trash container to like put stuff in. He drops it off and she signs it. So the story of King of the Bridge is that their dad died, and these two sisters, they come together overnight. There's a big like one of those big like trash containers outside, and they're basically cleaning out the house. But what you find out is that one of the sisters, when the dad got sick, one of the sisters stayed behind to like take care of him, while the other one actually went off and had a great life. So they're both roughly around the same age, but they're both in these two different points in their lives, and because they took different tracks, and it becomes kind of emotional because they kind of have it out with each other. So the scene is Matt's actually the guy who delivers the container, and it originally was supposed to be in the beginning. He's gonna deliver it, she's gonna sign it, and that's all it was. But the one reason I saw, I was like, okay, I don't think it makes as much sense, because we can just show the container in the beginning. I mean, everyone knows what that is, right?
Yeah, exactly.
The guy delivering it. And I actually thought it was so much more powerful for him to actually, like, he's taking it away. He's come to pick it up, right? So that's why it was, now we've already gone through this journey with them. They put everything, basically their memories, their stuff of their father, everything has now gone to this container, and now Matt's come to, like, take it away. And just Murray gives a great like little look at the end, and again she was seeing this as the opening scene.
Yeah.
She gives this really great look that just, it felt like, oh, she's like almost saying goodbye to this container.
That's fascinating.
So I think it was George Lucas who said, I direct a film when I direct it, but I start directing and editing.
Oh boy.
Right? So, I think it was this, I can't remember.
Yeah,
but
it probably was. Yeah.
I was the director on it. I was watching and I was like, you know what? This is better at the end.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
Matt was in that, and then he was also one of the stars in Meet Up.
That's so crazy. I mean, yeah. So it's like note to everyone out there making the movie that, it's okay to do stuff non-linear, if you need to. So it's just an editing decision, right? At the end of the day.
Editing is, again, I'm someone who edits. So
yeah.
For me, you tell the story 3 times. Once is the writer tells a story, the director tells a story, then the editor tells a story.
And when you're putting all that together, are you keeping that in mind when you're actually writing it, or are you just writing it straight through to make sure?
I don't write as much now as I used to. James is a writer, so he does a lot of the writing. So even if I come up with an idea, I let James kind of take the writing part of it. So the same with INSECTOID. I kind of came up with the idea, we workshopped it, and then James did it. But then I really do. I put on my like director's hat when we're directing, because we're directing actors, and I'm much more of kind of an actor's director. I like interacting with the actors, and then like I said, I have great cinematographers, so I know I trust.
Thanks,
trust what you're doing. And obviously you and me, we chat through the production as well.
Right.
We kind of know what we're doing. And then it moves to, and then I take off my director's hat and I put on my editor's hat.
Which is very important to keep in mind.
Yeah, so for me, when it comes to post and I look at it, on the timeline, I have no problem blowing it up.
Wow.
No problem. And the same thing with INSECTOID. And this is why INSECTOID's taken a while, because in the past when I wasn't working 40 plus hours a week, I would just work on it every day.
Yeah.
And it'd be very easy to flow, right? You'd have your one idea on Monday, Tuesday you have your second idea, but you're kind of all connected. This for me now, I'd work on it Saturday, not work on it again for the rest of the week, work again on Saturday.
Oh my God.
So it'd be trying to remember everything that you were doing, but I would blow it up and I'd be like, how do I want to tell the story? I think I did a cut of INSECTOID that the whole thing's told in reverse. I did a cut
Mementoid.
I did a cut of INSECTOID that, I literally jumbled every scene, kind of like the Limey with like linear editing.
Right.
You start with one thing, then you have the next scene's completely different, and as you're like intersecting.
It's amazing.
I did a lot of different with INSECTOID, and in the end, it's nothing. We are not done yet. But I do use a little bit about it. I don't think you've seen a cut of this yet.
You've never showed me.
Yeah.
You only showed me like a little bit of what you did, but like not the whole thing. So
there's a little bit of this in the end now of INSECTOID that I use a little bit. There's kind of, as she's processing what happened, I won't give that away.
Right.
But as she's processing what happened, I do kind of, I wouldn't say like a flashback, but we do kind of a jump sequence of different scenes.
Oh wow!
So we'll see. That's not fully done yet, but yeah, like I said, you have to be prepared to blow it up and
so safe to say you've blown up Insectoid several times.
I did, and it's funny. Sometimes you'll blow it up, but then you'll kind of go back to what it was. Like, okay, you know what? This doesn't work. You know, it's because it's just trying to find a different way. What's this? You know, trying to find a different way in the story. What's the story within the story, right? We know what the script was. We know what we shot, and that's great. Sometimes you'll know what the script is, know what you shot, and the scenes will look identical to what you want it to be. You're like, okay, this now it's telling itself. That's totally fine.
Yeah.
But sometimes you'll have something in your head, you'll shoot it, or you'll be creative on the day. Maybe things might be change a little bit, so you'll shoot something, and then you'll see it in post, and you're like, actually, like, what is this scene trying to tell me? It's trying to tell me something different. And so if it's trying to tell me something different, you need to respect that, right? You need to respect what the scene's telling you. So, you know, you can try to fit it into this box, which you can absolutely do, but sometimes you go and see where is the scene going to take me. And then if it takes you down a path, you're like, okay, I never thought of it this way, but it's kind of cool, and it does work, and it tells a better story, then I'm all for, you know, blowing it up.
You just have all that patience to do it, you know? Yeah, you have to have patience,
All right, but... yeah, so, you know, and then, of course, you get notes. I've gotten notes and stuff, and, oh, this actually doesn't work. And I'm like, okay, absolutely fair. Doesn't work. Let's go back to what it was, you know? Let's find the best thing.
How many people are giving you notes?
My brother gives me notes. Leslie gives me notes. Tori's giving me notes. You've given me some notes, which I've taken. So, you know, it's I think notes are really important. It's always, you might have heard this, it's, you know, what's the note within the note? Right. We're like, you know, give you this note, and you're like, okay, what are people really trying to say? And then it's about going and finding, either it's going back to what something was, because you feel like, okay, and maybe you aren't 100% sure either, so then kind of going back to what something was, or maybe it's like, okay, they gave me this note, this is what I have in my head, but this note is intriguing because I think what they're really trying to say is this, and now what they're really trying to say, let me see if I can get to that point. And when I can get to that point, along the way, we'll find something that works better. So notes are great. I think notes are great. Never, a good director, editor and a writer will never shy away from taking a note.
Unless they can't take constructive criticism.
Yeah, which is, again, this is
you're only human, right? So
yeah, of course. I mean, everyone's gonna be like, but, you know, like I said, it's. I think what's really interesting about a note, I think one needs to like keep in mind, it's again, what's the note within the note, and then it's the journey to the note, because then within that journey to the note, you might find something else.
Yeah, totally.
Actually, this is what I really wanted to do all the time. Yeah,
totally. Well, when you were, you know, shooting Insectoid, did you ever feel as if the, you know, just the content and what you were doing was a challenge, like too much of a challenge, or do you think it was just where you needed to be in your career right now?
It was a challenge, and I go back to, I had just started a new job, so it was a challenge for me because I wasn't as involved with pre-production as I wanted to be, and as I've been in the past. And so we'd go on the day, and it was a challenge because so much of my focus had been on something else, and then it was like really having to switch gears to this other thing. So I mean, the good thing about Insectoid is we're really good people working with us, and you know, everyone, and we had a plan and a platform, but it was definitely a challenge for me because I was kind of stuck in between these like two things, and so I was trying to like work and I think I would do things differently, to be honest with you. Like looking back on it, I would do stuff differently. Not in terms of Insectoid, but in my personal preparation, I think I would have done things differently.
Like what, for instance?
I just think I would have been more, like I said, I wasn't as involved with pre-production. I think I wanted to be more involved with pre-production. And then, you know, again, good on my brother for kind of really...
You were just working all the time, right?
I was working all the time.
Yeah.
And good on my brother, who's a co-director on the film, so he was very involved. But good on him for kind of really taking the lead on that, and then working really well with me on the day, because I knew what I wanted, and we both wanted the same thing. But I think, you know, I think going into it, I would have been, if I had some time away as well, not fully working constantly, because my brain was also on job stuff, so I wasn't able to completely like switch off 100%. So I think now I would do it differently. I'd make sure to switch gears completely. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah. I mean, that's yeah. But I mean, what can you do though, right? I mean, it's a good thing you were co-directing instead of just being clueless on the day, and just showing up and nothing's ready.
Yeah, and I know, like I said, I wasn't clueless. Like I was involved in stuff.
Yeah,
but
you're in two different spots at one time.
I was in two different spots at one time.
Yeah,
and so the things that I couldn't deal with, James was dealing with them. And he dealt them very well.
How long was your guys' pre-production then? Like months, or
just a couple months?
Just a couple.
Yeah, it wasn't anything too crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But I think being able to showing up on the day and being involved in every aspect of the pre-production. I'm not saying a director is right. That isn't the case, but especially like with a short film, being involved in every aspect of the pre-production. Mm-hmm. Makes the day more rewarding, right? Because you're kind of now bringing in all the work that you've done. You're kind of now being able to like really push that work through. Mm-hmm. So I didn't like show up clueless to the thing. I knew exactly what we were doing, and I knew what I wanted. And me and James were prepared and knew what we wanted.
Yeah.
And I mean, again, the day was fine.
Right. Because I personally did not know what to expect. That was just me. Because I knew that we were making, I knew we were doing something special.
Yeah.
But in terms of like actually like, where we were, because I didn't do a location scout with you guys, but I saw pictures of the place, so I didn't really know what to expect. But I think it went off really great, when we were shooting it, because we had a ton of happy accidents we didn't know about, and I remember that you were talking about turning like a bunch of shots into one long take, one long shot. And that was an actual like very like integral skill that I picked up for other projects. I was like, oh, we could do that, as opposed to just theoretically thinking about getting a shot here, then getting her, getting these very boring static shots. At least we're feeling out the room with them, right? Yeah. So but that's really cool. How did you feel about the monster? The actual insectoid. How did you feel about that when you were, during the whole pre-production process to where you guys are in the editing room? Did you guys get what you wanted with that, or?
I think we got the best version of what we wanted. I was always a little hesitant about how to show that exactly. So I don't think without doing some major special effects or something like that, there was no real way to do it. So I think we got the best version of what we.
Are you at least happy with what you got?
I'm happy with how it looks right now.
Right.
I'm happy with how. It's not even about seeing the insectoid. It's about how the power of that moment builds up.
Right.
And I thought in previous cuts it wasn't fully building there, but in my latest cut that I think is about ready, for me it does, because I also do these jump cuts of kind of wrapping the story up, and so I think it brings a little more power to this moment of when we actually see the insectoid.
Yeah.
So for me, I think that I like the way that looks now. I'm happy with that, but that was something that
is really cool though to think about.
As we're working there, it wasn't. It wasn't. It wasn't something it was something we knew how we wanted to shoot it, but it wasn't. I didn't know how much of it I wanted to shoot. So,
because really, you're experimenting with what the audience is going to take away from a wacky story like that.
Yeah.
And then also on top of it, it's also just you're making it a very human tale though.
Yeah.
About these two women who it's a love story at the end of the day, right? But it's it's a weird
love story, and it's experiencing grief.
Yeah, exactly.
Grief.
Yeah.
And it's not really about the insectoid.
Right.
The insectoid represents...
It's just a thing, yeah.
Well, it's the kind of the monster in the relation. It's the monster.
The metaphor.
Yeah, it's the metaphor. And, yes, we do something in the end, maybe a little more literal, but, that's what it really represents. And it's just, yeah, like I said, but it was something we'd all talked about how we're gonna do this thing without doing some major special effects thing. How are we gonna do this? And I think we did exactly what I think we were supposed to do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think when I saw it in post, I had always been kind of hesitant about it, and I wasn't sure how long we want to show it, what we want to do. But I think, again, this newest cut, being able to having some other stuff, some other jump cuts in this final scene, really kind of help build to that moment, which I think is kind of cool.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, because it feels like it's something different. I remember when we were doing it, I was like, oh man, this is wild, because it was like Alien in a way.
Kind of.
You know, but also too, it's the fact that you guys are already into horror and things like that. You know, you like that kind of stuff, and you know, it's just something to play with. And the psychological aspect was really fun to mess around with. And I mean, those two actresses, they're so friggin' good. You know, so it's just like,
amazing. Both were amazing.
You want to give them a plug real quick?
Jaya and Jacqueline both were fantastic actresses. And, they did an amazing job.
What are they doing now? Do you know? Because I mean, are you in contact with them at all?
Some. So I need to do a little better. I need to actually reach out to everybody who worked on this.
Yeah, true.
I gotta give everybody
an update.
We have posters done. We have
nice. Yeah.
Images ready to put up. I'm literally just waiting.
We're ready for the old IMDb.
Ready for the IMDb really soon. Just literally finishing this up now. But yeah, they're fantastic. Jacqueline is James's friend and James's connection. So I'm not 100% what she's doing right now at the moment.
Gotcha.
Works where I work.
Okay, yeah.
So I kind of see her.
That's cool.
See her here and there.
Okay. Yeah. I know it feels like such a giant place anyway. So, but that's really cool. So, like, what's your plan for Insectoid overall? I mean, you're happy with it. It's done.
Done-ish.
your notes and then composing music, right? We
gotta just finishing up with the notes. So we're almost done at picture lock. Jackson Brown, who's doing Jackson Woods Brown. That's his.
Not the Jackson Brown.
Not the Jackson.
Yeah.
Jackson he's doing the composing on this. He's actually working on it today.
Nice.
And he's doing a fantastic job.
Nice.
Can't wait to share that with people. And he's we just gotta finish that and then just work on the final sound of the whole thing.
Hell yeah.
And then it's ready. So
wow.
we're really close. It's just final touches.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's something. Yeah. So do you think that, what are you thinking? Like, you know, local festivals around LA? Are you trying to do Hollywood shorts? Are you trying to do Sundance with it? Like,
we'll see where,
do you think,
what kind of legs it has.
Do you think that, out of your other shorts, out of Hawk and King of the Blue Ridge, that it's, you know, a level above what you were doing?
I think it's a really, really interesting, fascinating short with some really great performances. And I think people are going to really connect with it, which I think is really cool. And maybe even be kind of excited by the ending. See the little aspect of all of it.
I mean, I'm excited because I haven't seen what you've been doing in about a year or maybe like 6 months. Something like that. So like, I don't even know what to expect.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. We'll see. The plan is to then put it in some festivals. The idea is, I always like local festivals because it's actually things we can go to.
Yes,
I kind of learned
seriously.
That as with history.
There you go. Yep. Thank you. Yes, local festivals, guys.
Is to be able
seriously, don't fall for the scams. You know,
unless you really think it has legs and can go to some Oscar qualifying stuff or major film markets.
That's
I always say kind of you want to stick with your local festivals, depending of course where you are, right? That's sometimes geography.
And most people are like, well, that's not going to get me exposure or money, right?
But you get to meet people.
Yeah, exactly.
You get to meet people and you get to kind of network with people. And I think if it's something you can go to, that's what's great about a festival is you can actually go to the festival and you can meet other people. Because if you go there, you can meet other people maybe, and it wouldn't not necessarily somebody who wants to like buy your short or buy your script or buy your treatment, right? But maybe somebody you would like to work with, right? And like
absolutely.
Start building a network of people that you actually want to work with, and then you're all doing stuff and making things and.
Well, when you're shooting, when you're like putting things out, like, because I know Hawk is on YouTube, King of the Blue Ridge is on YouTube as well.
And my website.
And your website, which we'll do the plugs later on. But, you know, like in terms of, I mean, where we are with tech, YouTube is such a big deal, and it's only getting bigger. So where do you stand on the whole, you know, festival route to distribution route, where it's like, okay, I got it in X amount of festivals, you know, like let's just say INSECTOID does, I don't know, 5 big ones, right? And then it ends up on YouTube. Is that something you're happy with?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of big ones, you're talking like major, like, you know, film markets versus
yeah, I mean, well,
Oscar qualified.
Okay, yeah.
Festivals.
Let's say like maybe one big one, and then 4 local ones, right?
I mean, I think it just really depends. I think it's depends how much money you put into your short too.
Right.
I think it's, you know, and it just depends if you think it has legs or not. I think it's the most important thing is for people to see it, right? It's one of the most important things. So, you know, if you have a really short film that maybe doesn't have the production value, you know, and unfortunately we get. It's not about that stuff, but it can be about it, right? And unfortunately, we can, you know, you compete with people that have spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on there, you know.
And that's something most people don't realize.
Million, right? Get into that kind of, you know, so you're spending, you know, $50, $100, you know, $100,000 on
Sure.
You know, we spent a couple thousand, you know. So,
if that.
So I mean, it's something where, you know, if you're spending $200,000, then yeah, those then those films will go to like a film market or go to like, again, those Oscar, and I say Oscar qualified not for the Oscars, but it becomes, those are mainly major film markets that people visit to try and, you know, either purchase films or
yeah, I mean, it's crazy because like when you were doing Hawk, it was almost like the Wild West of film festivals, and now it's so centralized to those kind of aspects that just like, oh yeah, so like, you know, you got the market festivals for shorts, so you got the, you know, the smaller guy festival for little guys, and then you got the internet ones for people who like, you know, live out in the middle of nowhere. Like it's
also purpose. So like it's not to say one's other than they also have a purpose. So I mean, I think if you want to, if for you as you do a short, but your most important thing is you want to have get eyeballs on it, then yeah, put it on YouTube, share it. I mean, social media today is such a powerful tool. We all know that. So I mean, if you're sharing all of your stuff that you create, I think that's important, because then more and more people will see it, and you know it becomes part of your portfolio. But then yeah, I mean, if you go, and then if you can go send it to local festivals, it's great because maybe you'll meet people that, you know, I don't never want to say you'll meet somebody who will fund you or buy something, but maybe you'll meet somebody who you'll work with, and then the next project you'll spend a little more money. Or you'll make something that has a little more production value that then you're thinking, okay, I can then send this to, again, a major festival, where there you might have the ability to, you know, you might have to meet somebody who's like, actually, you know, what else are you doing? What's the next thing you're gonna do? Oh, that's interesting. Let me keep in contact with you because what's the next thing you're gonna do? You know, so
the power of networking.
Yeah, so I mean, but they all serve a purpose. Like again, the local festivals are good because you'll go there and you'll meet people. Yeah. And again, you don't know who you're going to meet and who will like your stuff. And even if it's just somebody you want to work with, right? Like maybe somebody you want to be your cinematographer or somebody you want to act in something. And then you yourself are creating your own kind of network and your own kind of, I don't want to say like production company, but your own kind of, the people you trust you're making stuff together. So I think that's really powerful. I think people don't always think about. They always think about, let me just go because I this film needs to like open this door for me. This film needs to open that door for me.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly.
But then people realize that, okay, even if you go to a festival and you meet somebody who wants to be in your thing, and then you make something with this person and they're great. Right. That's a door that I don't think a lot of people also realize.
Yeah.
It's important.
Kreutzer, did he ever talk to you about this? That Cape Fear was saying that there are no overnight success. Did he ever mention that?
Maybe, I can't remember.
Yeah, because that was one of the things he told us, was that, and
100%.
And it kind of it sticks with you, because it makes you feel like, oh, you can't, on one level, yeah, you can do this. Anybody can do this shit, but the amount of people who quit are far greater than the amount of people who stick with it. So overall, I think that's another thing that you have to keep in mind. And so when it comes to people like us who are working, and we're either living the gig life, or we're working the regular jobs, the 9 to 5 is real. The work-life balance has to be figured out in order to actually be fulfilled somehow. Yeah. And then you build it as you go along, right? Yeah, so you just can't get discouraged, right?
Absolutely, you can't get discouraged. Here's what I'll say: I can't speak with authority on this, because I still figure out my work-life balances. Mm-hmm. As I said, this short's taking me almost a year to edit because of the work-life balance. So I can't speak with authority on that, but yes, I agree. Mm-hmm. I think that it's figuring out that work-life balance, but never getting discouraged. So one thing I will say, I'm not discouraged. I still want to make stuff. So even though INSECTOID's taken me a year to edit, mm-hmm. I'm ready for the next thing too. Like, I'll do the next thing. It's not like, okay, now this is done. Okay, you know what?
Do you have an idea for the next thing?
I do.
Oh, wow,
It's something I want to work on.
Nice.
It's a kind of...
Are you gonna write it with your brother? Or?
Yeah, it's not written yet. So it's just a treatment at this point.
Okay.
But it's something that I'm really interested in. It revolves, it's kind of a murder mystery, if you will.
Nice.
Not like a Knives Out type thing, but
okay.
more like a Mindhunter, the TV show.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, so it's kind of in that world.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Really excited about it. It might be a feature. So we'll see how...
A micro-budget feature?
Micro-budget feature.
Yeah, that's where it's at nowadays, guys. So,
I'm really excited for it. So it's something I'm really passionate about. Mm-hmm. So we'll see. That's exciting. Finish, get that out into the universe, and then start working on the next thing. That's always
one thing at a time. You got to chip away at it.
That's all we can do.
Real quick, because I could just do this for hours. I mean, we've already been talking for a minute, but back to what we're doing next and everything like that. You have an idea that you're working on and everything. So, what do you think in the foreseeable future when it comes to doing shorts and micro budget features? What do you see it as, like, kind of like, and this is like a Hail Mary here, but like when we're thinking about, like, favorite filmmakers and things like that, like the traditional route is always features, but do you think that, like, if Fassbinder, we're still, because I know you're a big fan of that guy, if he were still making movies, would it matter what length they were, like whether it was a micro budget short or a short film or a feature or a featurette, which is like something new that I've been seeing on the markets because they're easily digestible. How do you feel about all of that in terms of time?
I mean, I think that, look, for me, I think there's a universe for everything still. I know there's a lot of talk right now about, what is cinema, what is, what threshold does something pass to be considered a movie or cinema? Right. I mean, we've heard a lot of great directors talk about that versus a lot of, some of the stuff that's out. And the same thing with short. I think it depends the movie that you're making, and it depends where it's going to be, right? So if it's like a Hollywood movie, that's always going to kind of be, the big budget. We know what we're kind of getting with that, but it doesn't mean that there's not another universe for something else. Mm-hmm. I always think there is, and we have somewhat famous people, really advocating for that. And I love seeing. I'll tell you, I love seeing things like, you still have like the Criterion Channel, and you still have even things like Letterboxd, is not to plug them, but you see these things, and like, for example, like Letterboxd, they go to like different festivals, and you hear they ask people what their top 4 films are, right? And even the people that are responding, their top 4 films, these are really cool, really cool indie films or short films or things that you wouldn't see in the mainstream. And I think all that does for me is it tells me that there is, I want to say like a market, but there are people out there who love this stuff.
And you're actively searching for that, right? Like you're on Letterboxd and actively looking through it and saying, "Oh, what's this thing?"
I'm a big film buff.
Right, right.
So yeah, I will go on Letterboxd and I would I would hear something that somebody said to me, I won't know, then I go and I add it into my watch list.
Okay.
But it's something. But needless to say, what it's telling me is that there's things people still view this as an art form, right? Despite the money versus art, I think people still view this as an art form. So I think there's still a universe for that, and it's good that we still have. And maybe I don't know how long we'll have them. But right now, we still have avenues where people are seeing these things. Again, even if it's like a YouTube, right? Or, again, you have things like IFC, which again are taken from big budget companies, but IFC or Criterion Channel, things like that. But it's still a place for people to see things, and I think that's important. And just seeing that people are into stuff tells me that there's still, people are still view this as an art form and still want to see, still watch something that's maybe doesn't fall traditionally 90 minutes or whatever, you know what I mean?
It's fascinating because I'm always figuring out who's using what to figure out their movies and sources. Sometimes it's a podcast, sometimes it's word of mouth. So but no, it's an amazing age that we're living in, right?
And it's interesting, again, just to kind of seeing people respond with what their favorite movies are, and it's a lot of art house movies or foreign films or independent movies or even short films. Again, tells us that people are still in love with the art form, and
that's so crazy.
That won't die, right? People are still in love with this, and you'll go see maybe some big budget movie at the theater, but it doesn't mean that you're not going to go and see that.
Exactly.
Go see that short movie that really moves you, or go see a 7.5 hour movie. You know what I mean? Like, I still think it's amazing to me that people still have an appetite for that.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the future will bring. We'll see. It's a constant changing thing, but as of now, I still think people have an appetite for really kind of exploring the medium, which I think is still great.
Yeah. Alrighty, man. Well, good talking to you.
All right.
It's been a pleasure.